Hello. So welcome to today's live stream. It is going to be really chill and relaxed. I figured that's probably the best energy, especially if you are attending this stream because, like me, you're planning on entering International Novel Writing Month. That's where all the energy and all the excitement should go because you're going to need it to write 50,000 words in a month. So with that said, this one won't have a writing segment at the end of it, and it won't really be as instructional as my other videos where I actually had tips on the screen and went by step by step. This one is more like I am going to be hype and officially announce my NaNoWriMo project on the website. Keep in mind that if you are competing in NaNoWriMo, for it to really be official, you do need to announce your project on the website and keep the word count tracked so that when you reach 50,000 words and update it on the website, that's when you are seen as a winner. With that said, I'm going to begin this stream by announcing what my project is officially, and I'm going to actually share the screen on NaNoWriMo so to show you how to announce your project if you're also unsure how to go about it. So just give me a moment. Sometimes sharing screen can be a little wonky, so just gonna go and pull up the NaNoWriMo website. All right, hold on. And in the meantime, while I get this all worked out, definitely tell me about what your NaNoWriMo project is and have you officially announced it on the website? I would absolutely love to know what people are working on. Especially, if you follow my content, I would love to meet some more speculative fiction writers, but of course, all writers are cool to me. All right, it looks like the screen sharing is working now. Okay, so yeah, everybody can see my screen. All right, so here is how you officially announce your project. So obviously you'll need an account at NaNoWriMo. I'm already logged in. I've been doing NaNoWriMo since like 2006. I've pretty much stayed logged in since 2006. So as you can see, that's why my name is here because I'm logged in. And once you're logged in, your homepage for NaNoWriMo will look like this dashboard as opposed to the login when you go to NaNoWriMo and you're not logged in. And so announcing your project is really simple. Just log in and then you should have this announce a new project button. So I am officially going to announce mine, which is both very exciting and very nerve-wracking. It's been years since I've actually sat down and dedicated myself to finishing NaNoWriMo. So I'm going to be what they call a NaNoWriMo rebel, I believe, because my project, Waking Nightmares, is actually a short story collection. So normally in NaNoWriMo, even though, NaNoWriMo is not the kind of organization that's going to restrict what you want to do creatively, but normally you're supposed to start a brand new novel and focus on that as opposed to continuing something you've done previously or as opposed to doing a short story collection. But I'm going to do a short story collection. Obviously, I'm not going to count the words that I wrote in this collection before NaNoWriMo started, but I've been working on this collection for a few months, and I figure NaNoWriMo is the best way to continue it. So getting back to officially announcing my project. So once you put in the name, and don't feel pressure about putting in the actual name of your project. I know this is the name of it because I've been working on this for months. But if you don't have a name for your project yet, just do something like title TBD or some kind of funny filler title that you can always go back and change some other time. So then the next thing is, what is the project status? So right now, I would say I'm still in the prepping stages. I'm still working on some general outlines. So that's what I'm going to choose. I want it to be public, but you do have options to only show it to yourself or to your buddies, which you can add buddies on NaNoWriMo, which is really cool. But I'm going to keep it public. And the type of project I'm working on is actually a short story collection. But I do really like that even though NaNoWriMo tells you should follow, like write a novel, that they obviously expect and understand that people will be working on different things. So you can say that you're doing a short story collection like me, or a memoir, script, nonfiction, poetry, or other. I'm going to choose short stories. And I will associate it with the NaNoWriMo event. So NaNoWriMo, people think that National Novel Writing Month only has things that happen in November, but that's not true. They have camps. If I was doing this in July or April, I would say that I am participating in that, but I am participating in NaNoWriMo 21. So that's the event. It's important that you check this, because if you don't, you could technically be using NaNoWriMo all throughout the year, even if you're not competing, to just keep track of your goals and be in a writing community. And in that case, your word count wouldn't apply to any of the events going on. It would just be floating around on the website and something you just share with your buddies or with yourself. So you have to check this to make sure that you're making it clear that you've entered. So there's the overview of my announcements. All right, and so the next one is on to the goal. So because you've chosen NaNoWriMo 21, some information cannot be edited. Let's see. All right, yeah. So I guess what this screen is if you had not chose NaNoWriMo 2021, if you were just on the website doing your own thing, your own goals, this would give you the opportunity to name what your goal is and what's your word count goal and your start date and your last day of writing outside of NaNoWriMo, which is really, really cool to be able to do that year round. Because I chose NaNoWriMo 2021, which means my goal and the type of goal and my word count goal is the same as everyone else who was doing it. I'm going to go on to the details. So this I'm going to really fill out and dive into later. I don't want to take up this whole stream adding expert or excerpts and other details like this. So for now, I'm just going to put in the genre. I would say that this, even though I call it speculative fiction, which is a big umbrella term, I would say this borders more on horror and supernatural. And for now, I'm just going to leave these things blank, but I can't wait to come up with a project playlist. I'm so happy that NaNoWriMo allows you to include that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and save my project. Like I mentioned, this isn't complete, but it will be complete later. I'll go in and do it after the stream. So now my project is officially saved, and now my dashboard has, this is where I would track all my words and edit things. So yeah, this is really cool. You also get writing badges, which you can, when you create your NaNoWriMo account, you should definitely look at all these badges and figure out, try to get as many badges as possible. That'll be my goal this year. So yeah, I've officially announced my project, a short story collection. I'm excited to share and to hold myself accountable with other people who are participating. And so, like I mentioned, I do have a couple of tips that I want to give, and this is going to be brief. That's because all the things I'm going to be talking about, mostly in how it applies to how I'm doing NaNoWriMo, they'll get their own separate videos. So I'm going to be talking about finding a writing community, setting up a writing routine for NaNoWriMo, how I plan to meet my goals and measure them, and then what this channel will be doing during November and after November. Like I mentioned, I'm just going to really explain what I'm doing, which could still be helpful for you. But in some later videos, the routine video, the community video, all of those will be their own videos, even outside of NaNoWriMo, because I feel like those are tips that would be helpful for writers who aren't even participating in National Novel Writing Month. So the first thing I want to bring up and why I kept NaNoWriMo on the screen is how to find a writing community, or more or less how I found a writing community. So first things first, going back to the NaNoWriMo website, when you log into NaNoWriMo, you can head on over to the community tab, and this is where you can discuss online for community on forums. But what I think is the best thing to do to have an accountability group the month of November, because I can't stress enough the importance of having, even if it's just one or two writers who you talk to, who keep you accountable to your goals. It's like everything from making sure you just don't fall off. NaNoWriMo has this groups area where you can look at all the groups that you are already in, or you can, when you go to this tab, you can find a writing group to join. Let's see. And what I've learned about, finding writing groups off of Nano is a lot of them end up moving over to like a Discord group to make it a little bit easier to talk about. But yeah, in the forums, there is the writing groups assemble. And this is where you can just keep scrolling to find whatever group works best for you. There's such a large, great variety of groups you can join. I'm part of a speculative fiction group, and we don't really talk on NaNoWriMo. We talk on Discord. So that's my first tip for finding a group and a community while you write. And my second clip, and I'm going to go ahead and close out of NaNoWriMo. So my second tip for finding a writing community, and what I do is to either find a writing group or club that is local to you, or put together a writing mastermind group, either of your own or join someone else's. So while being in the NaNoWriMo Discord has been helpful for me, because there's so many people in there, sometimes it doesn't feel like it's one-on-one enough for me to really benefit from it. So what I ended up doing was I thought about all the writing friends I've had over the years, and I thought about the kind of vibe I want for a writing group, and I contacted those people. And so I'm in a writing mastermind group that I started that has 4 other people. So there's 5 of us. We meet once every 2 weeks on Discord to talk about our writing projects, to give critiques, to talk about any problems we're having. And I found that creating my own writing mastermind group, where I reached out to writers who I knew personally, has been the most helpful thing for me, even more helpful than going on NaNoWriMo and choosing their groups, because with 5 people, especially people I know, it's a lot more intimate. And so that's what I would recommend you do. And if you don't have any really close writing friends, you can also still try to find people on the NaNoWriMo forum, or any other place where writers gather, and ask if, go on a Facebook group or something and request the writers in there that you want to start a group, and you only want it limited to like 3 to 5 people, so that everybody feels like they're benefiting. And that way you can start your own more intimate writing mastermind group. So that is my tip for community. NaNoWriMo, Facebook forums, start your own writing mastermind group. That's been the most successful thing for me. So the next thing I want to talk about is writing routine. And so for this, what has really helped me try to get into a better habit of writing was this book by, I believe, Chris Fox. I'll make sure to put a link to it in a pinned comment, called 5,000 Words Per Hour, or 5K Words Per Hour. It's a totally free book. And I read that when I was trying to get back into writing after years of not writing and feeling kind of stuck at the idea of starting again. And that free book by Chris Fox really, really is a short, brief, to the, right to the point book, very helpful. And it really walks you through setting up a writing routine just to give you in the rhythm. And it normally starts with being like, just do 5 or 10 minutes a day. It talks about the importance of setting up a space where your brain knows it is time to write. So because that book is free, I 100% think that people should check that out when it comes to starting a writing routine, because that has been helpful for me. And so taking what I learned from that book and putting that in my brain, what my writing routine is going to look like is, because this year I'm actually just putting my mental health first and taking it easy. Just to be clear, my goal isn't necessarily to get to 50,000 words. My goal is to get to at least 20,000, because that's the furthest I've ever gotten. And then anything I do past that would be a celebration. And so my writing routine is going to be kind of like hoping at the very least that I can do 30 minutes every day. And I will find a space I feel comfortable writing for 30 minutes. For me, that's normally outside, but it's really too cold to be outside. Um, so my writing space is probably going to be away from my business desk because I associate that desk with work. Probably will just be in my bedroom or in a bath, writing for 30 minutes. And so that covers finding a setting that helps you with your routine. And then something that's normally really important is for people to aim for writing, I think 667 words a day. I'm not necessarily going to be uh, counting my words that specifically. Um, when I first start, I'm really just going to focus the first few days on getting into a rhythm before I start counting my words that day. So, however much I get done in 30 minutes a day is good for me. Um, and then once I get into a good rhythm, I'll start to think more about what word counts to reach a day. And I'll probably start myself off easy and try to get to 250 words a day, and then move up to 500 words a day. And if I feel comfortable ever getting past 500, then I'll go to the recommended daily word count that NaNoWriMo recommends to reach 50,000, which is 1,667. So that's my routine. Find somewhere that's outside of where I work because I work from home. Find somewhere that is a little bit more peaceful and relaxing where I feel creative. And then just start at 30 minutes a day and don't stress myself out at all about the word count until I get into a good rhythm in the first place. I love layering as opposed to just jumping right in and then just falling. Um, so that's what I'm going to do for writing routine. And I already mentioned what my goals are. And this was more like thinking very carefully about myself. So I think that when it comes to setting your writing goals, you want to make sure that you're self-aware and that you're thinking carefully about your own boundaries and your own what helps you be more creative. So if you do NaNoWriMo every year and you're used to it, then you probably already have a system in place for your goals about you've probably already decided my goal is to meet 50,000 words and to do this many things a day. But my writing goals are actually to stay updated on the NaNoWriMo website, write 30 minutes a day, don't stress myself out, make sure to have fun with this process. And so my writing goal is to be consistent, but to not hold my own self down and freak myself out. Um, and when it comes to actually meeting those goals, that's why it's important to have a writing community first and foremost. Um, Meeting goals and having an accountability group go hand in hand. So when you set those goals, it would be good to either tell your writing friends or just, you don't even have to tell a writer that, just one person who you know will keep you accountable and tell them what you're trying to do and ask them to regularly check in with you to see how well you're doing with that goal. Um, and I really think that the only way you can meet your goals is if you don't expect writing to be something where you just sit around and get motivation to write, because writing is fun, but it's also stressful. And you have to treat it kind of almost, if you're trying to do something of this undertaking, you do have to treat it like a job, a fun job. Uh, I'm not trying to give anybody any negative connotations about writing, but something that you have to do whether you feel inspired or not. Like you have to go to work if you don't feel inspired, if you want to, get your paycheck. And so it's the same way with writing. Don't rely on motivation and inspiration. Be self-aware about what your actual limits are. Like personally, I know that trying to do 50,000 words this month when I am just starting writing again would probably be a no-go and would stress me out. So I'm aiming for 20,000 words, and anything above that is a celebration. That feels more doable to me than 50,000, even though I am entering in the NaNoWriMo competition. So be honest with yourself. And the biggest tip I can give you for meeting your goals is tell one person, whether they're a writer or not, at least that what your goals are, and make sure that they actually check in with you about them. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to share, just in an informal, general, relaxed way about um, how NaNoWriMo is going for me. Um, And like I said, this was more like just kind of an informal, I'm just talking out my routine and excitedly announcing my project. But in the future, these topics I talked about, I'll actually break down into produced videos and release on this channel outside of Nano, because I think they're just general topics that writers would appreciate. And so with that, I just want to explain how November is going to go for this channel and then the months after that. So if any of you knew me from my other channel, which is called Business at Tiffany's, for almost a year, I was doing live videos once a week. And the reason that I was doing that once a week was because I didn't have the time and the space to actually make produced videos. So live videos were the best thing for me at the time. But I ended up shifting those videos from Business at Tiffany's to From Idea to You, because this channel is more writing and creativity oriented than the business one. And what I'm ended up deciding is that in November, I will be doing streams once every week again. What day it'll be will depend. Right now, I'm still aiming for the normal time of Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time or Central Time. But I'll let you know if that changes. And it'll be weekly live streams where I update everyone on what my word count is at and how well or how not well I'm doing during Nano. It'll just be a community chat where I want other people who are competing to also be able to check in with other writers. I hold myself accountable and I hold other people accountable as well. So in November, every single Friday, I would be updating on the word count and how well I'm doing with my NaNoWriMo challenge. But after November, come December and all the time onward, I'm going to be doing live streams only once a month, and I want those to be with guest writers. So where I'll talk to writers who are already published or who are doing something interesting, and they can join me to discuss something quickly, and then we'll all have like a co-writing session, and those will go down to just once a month starting in December. So November until next November is the last time where I will be doing live streams every single week. And that's because I want to do more produced videos, and live streams surprisingly take a lot of work. It takes me almost 2 or 3 of my working days to get everything set up, then edit it and everything for a live stream. So I've just decided that it would make more sense to make it a once a month thing starting in December. But with that said, I will most likely be back on Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time to get started on my NaNoWriMo journey. And I would love if you would join me for that. Yeah, and that's really everything I wanted to say. um, if you're on the replay team, thank you so much for watching this live stream. And I know it's different than the other ones that I've done in a while, where there's no writing or no actual like step-by-step instruction. But that's just because I want to make sure that I'm saving this energy for NaNoWriMo in a couple of days. And I also just have a lot going on. So I don't want to like burn myself out. But with that, I wish you the best with your writing goals. If you're entering into NaNoWriMo, please tell me in the comments what you're working on. And also, if you want to be a buddy with me on NaNoWriMo, we can also talk about that as well. So yeah, happy writing, everybody.